Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Grivadari Jaya Grivadari Gopijana Vallabha Grivadari Jaya Grivadari Yasodanandana Raja Dhanaranjana Jaya Raja Dhanaranjana Yasodanandana Raja Dhanaranjana Jaya Raja Dhanaranjana Yamunadiravarachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Yamunadiravarachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Grivadari Giridharadari Jaya Giridharadari. Gopidana Ballabha Giridharadari Jaya Giridharadari. Sodanandana Raja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Raja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravarachari Jaya Kunja Vihari. Hara Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Brahmadakacharya Asadhara Sadushi Shiman. His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Smaraj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hariva Slava Zarani Bhakta Slava Shri Guru Shri Gaurangi Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhute Shri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Vicharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskyatyade Sadharane. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Vitam Cha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Vaisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakapa Trivyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patidanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitinanda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 8, Chapter 12, Mohini Murti bewilders Lord Shiva, text number 7. Tvam Brahma Purnam Amritam Vigunam Vishokam whatever this promise to me. Tvam Brahma Purnam Amritam Vigunam Vishokam Ananda Matram Avikaram Ananya Anyad Vishwasya Hetur Udayastiti Samyamanam Atmeshvaras Chatad Apekshataya Napekshaha Tvam Brahma Purnam Aritam Vigunam Vishokam Ananda Matram Avikaram Ananyat Anyat Vishwasya Hetur Udaya Stiti Samyamanam Atmeshvaras Chatad Apekshataya Napekshaha Ladies. Two ladies are actually allowed to chant. There's no restriction. Ama Brahmanam Amritam Vigunam Vishokam Ananda Matram Avikaram Ananyadanya Vishwasya Hetur Udayastiti Samyamanam Ameshwarascha Tadapekshataya Napekshaha Tvam, your Lordship, Brahma, the all-pervading absolute truth, Purnam, fully complete, Amritam, never to be vanquished, Vigunam, spiritually situated, free from the material modes of nature. Vishokam, without lamentation. Anandamatram, always in transcendental bliss. Avikaram, changeless. Ananyat, separated from everything. Anyat, yet you are everything. Vishvasya, of the cosmic manifestation. Hetu, the cause. Udaya, of the beginning. Sthiti, maintenance. Samyamanam, and of all the directors controlling the various departments of the cosmic manifestation. Atma Ishvaraha, the Supersoul giving direction to everyone. Cha, also. Tat Apekshataya, everyone depends upon you. Anapekshaha, always fully independent. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My Lord, you are the Supreme Brahman, complete in everything. Being completely spiritual, you are eternal, free from the material modes of nature, and full of transcendental bliss. Indeed, for you, there is no question of lamentation. Since you are the supreme cause, the cause of all causes, nothing can exist without you. Yet we are different from you in a relationship of cause and effect. For in one sense, the cause and effect are different. You are the original cause of creation, manifestation, and annihilation, and you bestow benedictions upon all living entities. Everything depends upon you for the results of his activities, but you are always independent. Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead says in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagarabhyaktamurtina matstani sarvabhutani nachaham te shavashitaha. By me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. This explains the philosophy of simultaneously one and difference, known as Achintya Bheda Bheda. Everything is the Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead, yet the Supreme Person is differently situated from everything. Indeed, because the Lord is differently situated from everything material, He is the Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Cause, the Supreme Controller. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha. The Lord is the Supreme Cause, and His form has nothing to do with the material modes of nature. The devotee prays, as your devotee is completely free from all desires, your Lordship is also completely free from desires. You are fully independent. Although all living entities engage in your service, you do not depend on the service of anyone. Although this material world is created complete by you, everything depends on your sanction. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Matak Smritir Jnanam Aponam Cha. Remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness come from you. Nothing can be done independently. Yet you act independently of the service rendered by your servants. The living entities depend on your mercy for liberation, but when you want to give them liberation, you do not depend on anyone else. Indeed, by your causeless mercy, you can give liberation to anyone. Those who receive your mercy are called Kripa Siddha. To reach the platform of perfection takes many, many lives. Bonam janmanam ante, jnanavan mam prapadyate. Nonetheless, even without undergoing severe austerities, one can attain perfection by your mercy. Devotional service should be unmotivated and free from independent ahaituki yapratiyata yatma supratisidati. This is the position of nirashishaha, or freedom from expectations for results. Pure devotee continuously offers transcendental loving service to you, but you may nonetheless offer mercy to anyone without depending on his service. Anyone remember all the points in the purport? Can you tell us one point in the purport, Sri Devi? Without looking at the screen and trying.
Looking at the screen, well, I can probably try, by mercy of Guru and Krishna, to remember one thing. That one should be unmotivated, ahaituki aprataityatimata. I remember that part. Eyatma suprasiddhati. And that it takes many, many lifetimes to reach perfection. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavanam prapadyate. I remember that.
Okay, that's good. Anyone? Next, Alexander.
Hare Krishna,
No, that wasn't part of the purport.
Lord can give liberation causelessly, and this is the thing I remember.
I don't. It says you want to give them. You do not depend on anyone else. Indeed, by your causeless mercy, yeah, that's right. By your causeless mercy, you can give liberation to anyone. Well, let's see if it happens. Next, any other points? Dr. Marco.
I was better staying alive.
Staying alive? That's a preliminary qualification. Okay.
The word nirapeksha?
Yeah, well, nirashirshaha. Nirapeksha means, yeah, no, it means, nirashirshaha means freedom from the exploitation of results.
Anapeksha is also there.
What's that?
Anapeksha is also there.
Nirapeksha. Did you say nirapeksha or anapeksha? Nirapeksha. Let's see. I don't see any word nirapeksha here. Nirasheshaha, yeah. Okay, good try. I think that was in the third canto, you just that's such a good memory, you just Gunamadava.
Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita 9:4 that we are dependent on Krishna and Krishna is not dependent on anyone.
9:4? Oh yeah, 9:4. That's right, it was part of the purport. That means that Krishna is all-pervading. What is 15:15? You must know that 15:15. See, Krishna gave you the remembrance of 15:15. Krishna gave you the remembrance.
Yes, he did.
By
By mercy.
my mercy, I did. Krishna didn't give me the remembrance. How can I give you something I don't have? It always causes mercy. Are you telepathically connected to him right now?
I'm always connected to him.
Okay, good. And there was another verse quoted here. What is a verse about many, many births and deaths? We didn't ask you. Now you're showing off. Okay, what's the verse number?
719.
Right, good. You're qualified to show off. And what does Kripa Siddha mean?
One will attain perfection.
Oh, wait, raise your hand or something. I get into that all the time. They don't allow me to answer the question. What does Kripa Siddha mean? Yes?
The one who attains perfection by God's mercy.
Oh, that's it. Here it just says one who attains your mercy. So basically speaking, this is a glorification. Of course, here Lord Shiva, I guess is, who's talking here? Lord Mahadev. Yeah, Lord Shiva is praising Lord Krishna, that everything is coming from Krishna. And probably proves it in the purport by saying, Krishna is giving all living entities remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. At least in the spiritual world also, how does Krishna appear in the spiritual world to the living entities, to the souls? Think back long ago when you were in the spiritual world. See how good your memory is. Go back time immemorial, right before that. Well, in the spiritual world, everyone's thinking about Krishna too. Matter of fact, everyone there Krishna is in everyone's heart there. And therefore, Krishna is, in one sense, everyone is getting remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness from Krishna too. But undoubtedly a little different. Everyone in there is self-effulgent, so everything is perfectly clear. Everything is automatically understood. Well, here, we're looking around through these eyes and we have to figure out what's going on, because we don't know what's going on. And therefore we're always praying. Material world means a place where everyone is praying, but they just don't know that they're praying. And usually they don't know who they're praying to. For instance, in the material world, everyone has desires. And the first desire is we want to find out what's going on. If someone walks into a dark room, then the first question is, where am I? What's going on here? And and we wait for the answer, but the answer may not come. Krishna may not give us the intelligence, or he may give us the intelligence. Depends upon what we deserve and what we desire. Now, if a cat walks into a dark room, Krishna will probably give him the intelligence more than he'll give to us. What's going on there? Because he has the adhikari, he has the body to figure out what's going on in dark rooms. But we don't have that. And therefore, Krishna may not bestow that intelligence upon us because we're not qualified for it. Now, if you become a cat in your next lifetime, that qualification will be automatically bestowed upon you. Depending on what instrument we get certain pluses and certain minuses. It's like if you buy a computer, sometimes they have a floppy drive, sometimes they don't. Depends what computer you buy. So depending on the body we get simply certain pluses and certain minuses. Sometimes we can see better, sometimes we see less, Sometimes we can hear better, sometimes we hear less, and therefore we get that experience. Now, the human form of life is the only valuable point about the human form of life is that we can understand what kind of body we get. What are the different varieties of bodies? It's just like you go to a shopping store. You go to a store, even an online store, and you see these varieties of things, like, for instance, computers. There's a whole variety. So an intelligent person doesn't go, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a computer by its toe. No, usually we look through the different descriptions with what you can do with that computer. Now, if you just go like that, you get any old computer, whatever you come up with, you may be disappointed. You bought a computer, it doesn't have a hard drive, doesn't have a screen, doesn't have a keyboard, but it costs you 5,000 euros because you were foolish enough to buy it. So similarly, an intelligent person, before they purchase something, they examine the varieties and the guarantee, whatever, and then they may decide which is the best buy. Now, most people don't think the human form of life is a very good buy. We can see by their activities, they'd rather be something other than a human being, because they don't realize the problems with getting other forms of life, but they can appreciate some of the advantages. For instance, if you get the body of a dog, let's say, you get the body of a pig. Of course, most of us never see pigs around here, so it doesn't really strike us as very... But if you go to India, Vrindavan, you've been to India, Sri Devi? Have you been to Vrindavan? Did you see any pigs there? Now, most people in their right mind would not want to become a pig in Vrindavan. Although there's an advantage, you do get the remnants of all the Vaishnavas in Vrindavan. I don't know if it's prasadam, what do you call it? They're the garbage department in Vrindavan. They go into the sewer, they open their mouth, and everything just flows in. And you don't have to save so much time if you become a pig. You don't have to take a bath every day. And no one complains. Your mother doesn't say, "Why didn't you take a bath today? You stink." No, the mother hasn't probably never taken a bath in her life either. And everyone says it smells about the same. You don't have to worry about sleeping. You can sleep as long as you want. No one's going to wake you up. You don't have to worry about going to school. The pig school is, you get a couple of lessons. One is how to open your mouth. And the second thing is how to grunt, so how to knock into your opponent. That's it. You're finished. You get a diploma. You graduated. So, what a perfect life. No debts, no mortgages, no worrying about food. It's being produced fresh every day and available. Just fall out of wherever you're sleeping into the sewer and you're set for the whole day. As far as sex goes, they don't need any magazines. They're ready. Everyone is beautiful. So people admire the pig. We can call the pig the acharya for the Manans. He can eat unlimitedly, gets fat, never heard ever of a pig ever going on a diet. You don't have to worry about eating or sleeping, mating, defending, and all the other things are taken care of too. No education, no employment. Of course, you're homeless, but that's all right. You have to have some bit of renunciation there too. But who wants to become a pig? It's a perfect life, material life, but it's not a very desirable life. But people can get that life if they don't make the right choices. I remember when I was doing traveling Sankirtan, we used to stop at these park places where they have trailer parks, and going into these trailer parks. And I remember one time we went into one place and they had all these jars on the shelf that they were selling, and in the jars were pig's feet. I guess it's considered a delicacy to eat pig's feet. Put your head against the feet, my dear pig. You were probably my mother in my last lifetime, but you're still feeding me. But people don't know, and the Tevidu Swartikatim Hi Vishnu, because people don't know the glories of Krishna that are described in this purport, in this verse, therefore they take something insignificant as very important. Like eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Of course, there's even eating and sleeping in the spiritual world, but there it's of a different quality. There it's unlimited pleasure. If you eat a sweet ball in the spiritual world and remember it, then you actually taste it. It's even more tasty when you remember it than when you ate it. So how's that? Imagine getting a good offered pizza to Krishna in the spiritual world, and all week long you just keep on eating it. And it gets better and better and better. And there, when you're sleeping, it's just as good as being awake. There you can sleep and dream about meeting Krishna, and it has the same transcendental ecstasy as being with Krishna. And as a matter of fact, Krishna is there in the dream. There may not be any mating and defending, but the happiness of being in Krishna consciousness surpasses anything in the material world, any kind of sense gratification. There are rumors of demons in the spiritual world, by the way. There are no demons. Keshi is there, Aristasura is there, Kali is there, but they're all devotees. And therefore sometimes Keshi appears in Vrindavan and Krishna jumps on his back and rides him all over Vrindavan, in Goloka Vrindavan. And sometimes Kali appears and Krishna and the gopis, they do the Rasa Leela on his hoods. So that's the place to go. But people don't know that, and therefore they're trying to be happy here, not knowing actually who decides everything. In other words, Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita, he tells us exactly what's the best for us, because he's controlling everything. He's the one we desire, but he's the one who's going to reward us, and he's been around eternally, so he knows exactly what's good for us and what's not good for us. And therefore he speaks in Bhagavad Gita, and it would be an intelligent person takes Krishna seriously and follows his instructions. And an unintelligent person doesn't take advantage of Bhagavad Gita, and whether they know it or not, they're making choices just by association. If we're in the association of devotees who actually know what Krishna wants, and we find out from them what actually Krishna wants, then we make some progress. Then we get the best deal now and in the future. And we associate with anyone who doesn't know perfectly what Krishna wants, then we're going to wind up not getting the best deal. Unfortunately, well, I guess you can return the merchandise, but not in that lifetime. Therefore, it's best to find out, to become convinced how Krishna is the most intelligent, that he's the controller of everything, and that he's the best well-wisher of everyone. If we don't believe that Krishna is the best well-wisher of everyone, then we'll ask so many people except for Krishna what to do. There may be someone who's our well-wisher, but the best well-wisher is Krishna, and therefore a well-wisher is only one who actually tells us what Krishna wants. Otherwise, how can they be the best well-wisher? They may be a well-wisher, but if they don't know what Krishna wants, then they can't do good for themselves nor to anyone else. And as it says here, for the last thing, from Krishna comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So if we hear, we're always getting information from Krishna. Now the question is, are we remembering what Krishna said? If we're remembering what Krishna said, then Krishna is speaking directly to us. And if we don't remember what Krishna says, then someone else is speaking to us. Maya's representative is speaking to us. We may not know exactly where in the line of disciple succession that's coming from, but ultimately it's coming from someone, our grandmother, our teacher in school. Maybe it's even arising from our last animal body, mother or something. But someone is giving us instructions. And when we're conscious of Krishna, that Krishna is giving us this remembrance, this is what Krishna said, and this is what his representatives repeated, then it's actually Krishna helping us. Now, just by remembering what Krishna said is not good enough. We have to see whether it actually is clear, whether it actually fits time, place, and circumstance. And Krishna, therefore, he gives us not only remembrance, but he gives us knowledge if we want the knowledge. And when everything is clear, then we'll know, when we know exactly what Krishna wants, then we can act, and then we'll get the best result possible. Now we know sometimes people think Krishna is talking to them. But how do we know if Krishna is talking to them? Who does Krishna talk to? Does anyone know? To your beanie? What's that? No, who's qualified to hear what Krishna says? You sound pretty doubtful.
Huh?
You sound doubtful.
I sound what?
You sound like you're doubtful about that.
No.
Well, does Krishna ever talk to you?
Sometimes.
Are you a pure representative of Krishna? But you just said Krishna talks to the pure representative of Krishna.
But Krishna talks to the pure representative all the time.
All the time. How often does he talk to you? So what is the qualification for Krishna to talk to someone? One of my friends, I was on Radha Damodar, and for a year I traveled with this particular devotee. He's a sannyasi, but in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, in this Gaudiya Math now. And we were quite good friends. We were both, he'd learned martial arts and so did I, so we used to fight with each other when we weren't distributing books, we were practicing martial arts with each other, and with everyone else too. So, one time he was in New Vrindavan and he was walking with Srila Prabhupada, and he asked Prabhupada the question. Well, he told Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, sometimes the Christians, they say that God is talking to them. How do we know if God is talking to them? And Prabhupada stopped and looked at him and said, so, who does God talk to? Where in the Bhagavad Gita does Krishna say who he talks to? And this devotee's name was Janardhan, and he said, I don't know, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada looked at him and said, you don't know? Do you read Bhagavad Gita? He said, yes, Prabhupada. Then why don't you know? This went on for 20 minutes. I saw him right after that. I mean, he was like, he was crisped. I mean, Prabhupada didn't let up. And then he made the mistake. Prabhupada said, Te sham sadatam yuktanam bhajantam priti purvakam. To those who are constantly devoted to worshiping me with love, then I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. And Janardhan said, Janardhan Maharaj now, he said, but I know that Prabhupada. Prabhupada looked at him and said, if you knew it, why didn't you say it? So Krishna speaks to one who's constantly devoted and worshiping with him with love. Then he gives the intelligence to come. So if we're actually engaged in unalloyed, uninterrupted service to Krishna, then Krishna will give us intelligence, how to make progress. Otherwise, we may remember, just like a parrot can remember, a verse in Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't mean that Krishna is speaking to him. It doesn't mean the parrot's going definitely back to this parrot loka. No, Krishna, if we're trying to remember what Krishna wants us to do, in order to constantly engage in his service with devotion, then Krishna will give us the intelligence by which we can actually make progress in devotional service. So that's the most important thing to remember. Everything is coming from Krishna, but not everything is what Krishna wants us to do. But he wants us to be engaged in his service constantly, and then he'll help us by telling us what to do through Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, which will be confirmed also by Super Soul within the heart. Or Krishna and the Super Soul in the heart will give us the intelligence by which we can understand what Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra is saying. It's not that everything Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra say we understand. As a matter of fact, we probably don't understand. Or we understand only to a limited degree. But when we're engaging in devotional service with devotion, then everything becomes clearer. And Krishna reveals to us what Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra are actually a little clearer what they're saying. And then one day, we'll hear a day no sminyata dehe, and we'll say, wow, I'm not this body. Then Ishvara Parama, oh, Krishna is God. Amazing. Never heard that before. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions? Two, okay. Today I asked all the questions.
In the purport, it was mentioned, God does not need anyone's service. This is his Atmarama feature. I read this in his Aishwarya Mut. But is this Atmarama feature of God minimized, completely covered, or even lost in Vrindavan?
No. Krishna doesn't need anyone's service, but he likes people's service. In other words, by the service of Srimati Radharani and the devotees in Vrindavan, and even here, Krishna's happiness increases. He has unlimited happiness, but he likes his unlimited happiness to become even more unlimited. But when you have unlimited happiness, you don't really need any more happiness because it's already unlimited. But it's even nicer when it increases more. Okay.
So the second one, devotees are eagerly expecting you to come on Sunday, 10 o'clock meeting. They are curious, will you come? Hare Krishna.
You mean this is from Serbia?
Oh yeah.
Will I come? No, I'll go on the internet, but I can't go to Serbia that day.
Yeah. Okay. So then some say by the mercy of the Guru, even if the disciple is not yet completely pure, the disciple can hear instructions of the Paramatma. What do you think?
Where does it say that? I mean, Paramatma is speaking to everyone. Even if we're not completely pure, he's speaking to every living entity. So sometimes, as I said, if we're engaged in devotional service with determination and devotion, then Krishna will give us intelligence. He'll talk to us what to do to make progress. So he's not unresponsive. It doesn't wait. But sometimes we remember. Sometimes Krishna speaks to us, and sometimes someone else speaks to us. In the impure stage. That's what it means to be impure. Only when we come to the state of Nishta, even though we're still impure, even when Maya speaks to us, we don't take her seriously, although she's still speaking to us sometimes. Okay, anything else? Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.